At the end of the day, I incorporate Dutch simply because it matches the way I think. I love seeing a pathway laid out in front of me with the patient's data put into it, and then I can show them how the nutritional work and the recommendations with diet and supplements that I'm going to recommend are going to fit in every one of those little steps and help steer these hormones in a better direction. My name is Dr. Andrew Rostenberg. I'm a chiropractic physician in Idaho, but rather than seeing myself as just a chiropractor, we have a really big functional medicine practice and presence. So I've always been attracted mainly to my profession's philosophy that, there's an innate intelligence inside the human body. Bodies heal themselves. I just wanted to have a practice that would essentially serve the needs of entire families of a population and do everything that could be done that did not require surgery and did not require pharmaceuticals. So hormone testing is a critical part of what I do, and it's simply from the fact that hormones are critical to human health. So if a molecule like testosterone can turn a 8-pound baby into a 225-pound linebacker in the NFL, or if estrogen can turn an 7.5-pound baby into a 110-pound ballerina at the world's elite level, hormones, we need to pay attention to them because they have so much potential to change cell expression and gene expression without getting too scientific about it. So just off the nature of what hormones are, to be somebody who supports their patients at young ages, at old ages, throughout life, we need to be fluent in what hormones are and how they work. Hormone testing isn't just important to me, it's important to you because your hormones are controlling and influencing how you sleep, how you grow, how you recover, your tolerance of stress, your susceptibility in your immune system to viral infections. Cortisol has a huge influence on your immunity. Your viral vigilance, your cancer vigilance. And so it's like a layered cake, or I often tell patients it's like peeling the onion. I looked at a sample report and I was like, there's so much more information on this test. And if I was going to get that, if I was going to get the Dutch amount of information from another company, I'd have to order dozens of single individual tests and it would be cost prohibitive. So, just on an economic standpoint, I think that probably was like my business mind that just said, let's try it. And, from then on, we never looked back. It was like, this is just it was so well prepared, and the information on the Dutch reporting for me as a practitioner spoke my language as somebody who thinks holistically and looking at connections, that I could tell this company was different and they were doing something that I wanted to, I want to do business with people who think like me and have that same mindset. I'm focusing on the Dutch test with patients who have hormonal related problems. They have adrenal HPA axis type issues. A lot of women with menstrual problems, like, for example, endometriosis, fibroids, PMDD type issues, heavy bleeding, amenorrhea, perhaps even hirsutism, acne. There's a large number of women out there suffering with these problems. We live in a very toxic world. There's endocrine disrupting chemicals everywhere. And so I'd like to incorporate it that way. And then on the third page of the Dutch at the bottom on the left-hand side, there's one of my favorite parts of the test is that it shows us the methylation score, basically how well are these patients methylating their estrogens. And so at the end of the day, I incorporate Dutch simply because it matches the way I think. I love seeing a pathway laid out in front of me with the patient's data put into it, and then I can show them how the nutritional work and the recommendations with diet and supplements that I'm going to recommend are going to fit in every one of those little steps and help steer these hormones in a better direction. You have to be a little crazy to write a book. And in 2018, I finally got my book published. It took me about 3 years to write it. I wrote it basically one blog post at a time. I needed the cathartic, like I needed to write, but I couldn't just sit and write the whole thing at once. So I just wrote it a little bit at a time. And finally in 2018, we had it published. And so that was my goal with that book, was to be a resource for patients who are looking for answers. The title of the book is Your Genius Body. And as I mentioned in the beginning, philosophy is a heavy part of practice, in my opinion. And there was a quote I heard in school that just really blew me away. And it said that, the philosophy never, the science, the data changes, but philosophy never does. So if you're just hooked onto the latest study, but you're not anchored in philosophy, you could veer off course pretty fast. And so the book, Your Genius Body, is there to just encourage people to understand that their body doesn't make mistakes. First of all, it's easy for patients to accomplish the testing at home. This was true before 2020, but now in the post-COVID era, the amount of hurdles and maybe lack of privacy, and there's just so many things that have to go on to go see your doctor in person now that create maybe friction for some people and anxiety for others. It's just really nice when you can empower people to do things at home. It's, there's only so many doctors and there's thousands and thousands of people. The more we can empower them to find out what's going on with them at home, it's going to help our healthcare system and actually keep it, open for the people who are really sick. I actually really like that aspect. So doing the urination, the urine collection is very simple. And so that's one thing I really like about it. And it's just, again, the Dutch test is built from a functional perspective. It's trying to, by looking at the Dutch test the right way, you can see the process of hormone production, the process of hormones in circulation, the process of hormone detoxification. And with the right understanding as a practitioner, you can really have leverage to get it right when you're balancing hormones. So those are the things that I like about it. It's just for the price that people pay, the amount of data is just incredible, and it's easy. It's an easy test for people to do at home. So one situation that has arisen over the last couple of years with a couple of different patients, were females who had a very irregular cycle. They had signs of having amenorrhea, they had signs of the PCOS phenotype, and they also had acne issues and skin problems. And so it's been known for a long time that women with acne and male hair pattern type issues have a hormonal imbalance involving testosterone or some of the derivatives of testosterone. So it was really helpful for me as a practitioner to be able to test this, having the Dutch test sitting on this table, sitting across the table from a patient who's obviously very concerned about their skin and put a lot of time and energy into trying to heal that part of their body. To be able to show them, and say, Jennifer, the reason that you're dealing with this challenge is evident on this test. You can see that your 5-alpha and 5-beta testosterone derivatives they're high and out of range, and they're not being converted into estrogens as they should be in the female body. And so that helped me develop a functional medicine protocol to help interact with those enzymes and help guide those hormones to the downstream direction of turning into estrogen. And it's just a relief for the patients to see that there's a reason why things happen, and to see it on a piece of paper is very, very useful. I like the Dutch test for the adrenal results, because if somebody has fatigue and adrenal stress, it's just not specific enough as a practitioner to know which supplements are going to be most effective at which time of the day. The Dutch test is affordable. It is super simple for the patient to do. You don't, as a practice, have to really do anything, hardly anything at all, to get this data. And once this test comes back, you can educate your patient. And when they're educated, they're much more committed and much more likely to follow through with your advice. And so, I prefer to work in a practice where people are excited about what's happening, they've been educated, they're committed. I've found that those type of people get the best results, and they refer the people in their life back into your practice because they're getting the best results. If I was to give one blanket statement to the public about what actionable thing they could do to improve their well-being, their genetic expression, I'm going to say that they need to be aware of and learn about the level of xenoestrogens in their environment. And we're talking about compounds that look like estrogen under a microscope, act like estrogen in the human body, and are absolutely tearing people apart across our society and really all over the world. There is a big problem with xenoestrogen toxicity, and it's in hair products, it's in skin products, it's in inexpensive beef products, it's in traditionally farmed, non-organic dairy. And it's just, these chemicals permeate our life. And so I'm not saying stay up in the middle of the night sweating, worrying about all the chemicals in your environment, but really take those steps, those simple things you can do to change out your detergent, to change out your cleaning products. Spend a little bit more money on local organic food, spend a little bit more money, especially on organic dairy and butter. Organic butter is the probably most important organic product you'll ever put in your refrigerator. There's a website called Skin Deep. Maybe this is the best piece of advice I'm going to say, just in general. Skin Deep is a clearinghouse of information run by the Environmental Working Group. It's like a government organization that ranks and categorizes products sold in the United States in terms of their toxicity. And then they could put their product in. Just look at what's in your bathroom, look what's on your counter at your vanity, look at the makeup you're using if you're a female, right? Or look at the products both men and women are using and see how toxic they are and find a better alternative. That simple thing right there will help improve your health with really a little bit of effort.